Good evening. This is Benedict Forsyth with a news roundup by TRIAC Chronicle of the latest Aether recordings in the news at the moment, keeping you informed in even these darkest of times. Over the last few months, TRIAC listening stations around the globe have begun to pick up numerous transmissions from what seem to be pockets of resistance located within areas of Red Zone which were up until this point considered uninhabitable. The messages from brave freedom fighters describe small defended bases in parts of the Red Zone where the weed has not yet spread. The signals originate from deep in red zones in North America on the east coast near Norfolk, West Virginia, South America deep within the Yucatan Peninsula, Europe in the red zone east of the Prussian hegemony, and finally from deep within the Indian subcontinent, a location lost to the Martians for over 60 years. These brave freedom fighters should be heralded as heroes of humanity, as they bravely fight the alien threat from within their very borders. How they battle the weed and its effects is yet to be determined, but it is certain that TRIAC will investigate when it has the resources to do so. There have been further rumblings from the Mongol steppes in the Imperial Eastern Union recently. A prominent individual known only to this agency as the First Blade of the Great Khan has been reported to have been moving through the territory, brutally executing families in the surroundings. Little more is known of these heinous killings, and the IEU have no comment to give. This, combined with the recent plague and fever that is spreading in the steppes, may prove a worrying problem for the Empress and her court. Time will indeed tell the whole story, I am sure. The Bembridge Antiquities Gazette recorded this recently. Dear listener, as you are already aware, this publication is trusted for publishing the best findings and would never report unsubstantiated rumour or gossip. To that end, the following statement that we have been asked to provide is certainly worthy of note and comes from a reputable source within TRIAC itself. The so-called Da Vinci Scrolls have been found by a group of TRIAC agents and are indeed a magnificent find. Speaking on the topic, Agent Mercio Glaston was also highly fortunate to be one of the finders. He explained to us, how we came to stumble upon such a magnificent find is indeed a story worthy of a longer publication. But now that we have discovered it, we will most certainly be looking into finding the other items hinted upon by the great man himself, and should we be lucky enough to uncover anything else that we feel should be shared with you, we will do it by this excellent publication. We were fortunate enough to find a cryptex with the diary, so who knows what other wonders it will lead to. I'm sure many secrets which should be shared with you, the discerning reader, will come to light in the future. We will keep you informed of our progress and findings via this publication. When one of our reporters asked for a comment from Agent Glaston's superior, Lord William Grey, TRIAC Command, we were told by his lordship, I couldn't possibly comment on this discovery. I leave these things to the boffins. They are far more knowledgeable in these areas. I am but a humble soldier. Further comment was sought from Ethan Herald, founder and owner of Raven Herald Industries. He replied with, I have no comment at this time as to what was discovered on this expedition, except to say they were wonderful things, left behind by one of the greatest minds that ever lived. I dismiss the rumours that we found anything other than aged relics within the vault, but who knows what else could lie within, and the full extent of the truth of a master and his secrets are yet to be discovered. Well, listeners, it seems that TRIAC are not only the sharp point of the sword in this fight for our survival, but also the keen edge of the spade when it comes to archaeological expedition. It really does bring up the question, where exactly do they get the time? Where indeed? It has been reported by Admiralty sources that the strange spate of murders that have been plaguing the streets of New London over the last 6 months have abated. The killer, nicknamed by the populace as Spring-Heeled Jack, due to his supposed ability to enter first and second floor windows from the street level, has left a wake of fear and bloodshed. A prominent member of the Admiralty and TRIAC ambassador, Captain Marcus Alexander, was quoted stating, these killings have been grossly over-exaggerated and more than likely the work of one of our enemies from abroad, trying to spread panic in our cities. It would not be the first time erstwhile citizens have turned on their nation in an attempt to sow the seeds of discord. The matter seems to have been dealt with now, however, and the Admiralty Guard has done a sterling job in rooting out the problem. Long live the Lord Protector. A sterling job indeed. It seems that New London is now free of the horror that is allegedly stalked in the dark streets. Unfortunately, it seems that this threat may only have simply moved on, as the Chronicle is getting reports of similar attacks in Königsberg, the capital of the Prussian hegemony. The Landtag has refused to comment on this matter at this time, and whether these murders will continue, only time will tell. In the Federated American Union, there has been a growing rise in the vigilante problem. For some time now, a masked figure known only as the Patriot has stalked the nights of New Richmond. The floating city has seen a rise in the popularity of this shadowy figure, who protects the city and its surrounding areas from domestic crime and the threat of Martian infiltration. Reports say that he, or she, until very recently, worked with an equally anonymous partner, but this unknown individual has not been seen for some time. In the wake of the Patriot's emergence, many other like-minded men and women have taken it upon themselves to take up arms and police the lands they hold dear, and this has become a problem for the ruling body. President Stewart gave us this short statement 3 days ago. The Federated States cannot condone this lawless practice in our nation. As much as we are glad that our people wish to fight back, we would have anarchy on the streets if we allowed this to run unchecked in our lands. We understand and admire what the Patriot stands for, but implore him to stop for the good of his country. We will beat the Martians together, but within the margins of federal law, not without them. The ongoing scientific discourse continues between the renowned entrepreneur and boffin Thomas Alva Edison and the young Serbian genius, now of the Russian collective, Nikola Tesla. The heated debate between the two has been ongoing for a number of years now, ever since the young Tesla left the employ of Mr. Edison in a less than amicable split. Edison's work in ether science was ahead of the curve and nearly on par with Dr. Lansing of the Arctic Concord. However, Mr. Tesla's theories on the application of Martian technology to create a new source of power and science were thrown out by Edison and the scientific community, and his ideas of a so-called wireless power network have made him a laughingstock in most scientific circles. Only in the Russian collective and the Arctic Concord were there ears that would listen, and it is a sore point to this day that Mr. Tesla chose the collective over the Concord. Mr. Edison continues to be one of the foremost industrialists and inventors of the age, holding patents for many hundreds of inventions, including the very engines that hold the city of New Richmond up in the skies above Virginia. Along with Georgina Pickett, he remains one of the leaders of research at the FAU's Nevada Research Facility and a leading voice in both ether and Martian science. In lighter news, there have been reports by one of our closed sources that in the Arctic Concord things have taken a rather fragrant turn. The city-state of Concordia has recently had to perform a total revision of its air filtration systems due to an undisclosed event within the city, which left the atmospheric condensers that allow oxygen to flow to the very bottom levels of the structure at critical capacity. What caused this severe breach in the city's systems is unknown, and no comment is at this point forthcoming. And finally tonight, we can report that despite the war and ongoing Martian incursions into our territories, the great showman and entertainer, Mr. P.T. Barnum, will be continuing his tour of the major nations of the world. Mr. Barnum and his so-called greatest show on Earth looked set to have to close down, until recently, when he announced that not even the Martians could stop him taking the show to every corner of the New World. In an interview with the man some weeks ago, this reporter was able to get this quote: "Fortune always favours the brave, and never helps a man who does not help himself. If I were to stop the show, I would be betraying the very thing that has always made America great. These Martians won't stop me, and besides, there's a great need to promote wonder and joy in this world today. And without promotion, something terrible happens. Nothing." We can expect to see more of the show as it continues its travel across the globe. That is an end to the compilation of news from this last few weeks. This is Benedict Forsyth, signing off for the TRIAC Chronicle. Good night, and keep listening.